That's what's wonderful.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Hey, John, how you?
Hey, okay.
Hey, how was the weather coming in this morning?
It was
your way?
when I came in. It was about 72 and blue skies, and saw a lot of people, just getting out and working in their garden.
John, you was on a roll at Cross Point up here this past Sunday, and I got to tell you, my life stinks, and I'm just mad about it.
Well,
why does your life stink?
Yeah, because you said, how can we have a peaceful relationship? And I got how? Because my life stinks and I'm just mad.
Well, we were, as Jamie's talking about, when our relationships are mad, and isn't that the truth? When your relationships stink, your life stinks. And if you're mad at your husband, you're mad at your wife, you're mad at your best friend or whatever, and your relationship stinks, it's just going to make
Who are you mad at?
You?
No.
Why?
No. Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Why?
John.
Why?
She's talking about God's wisdom, and I got down here. Nobody ever accused me of being the sharpest knife in the drawer. You either, Tom.
Well, you are sharp, though, Jamie. You really are. You're very, very sharp. You've got a mind that's quick as a cat. And but at the same time, I will say this: smartness is one thing. Wisdom is another. We've said this before. Wisdom is always being able to see things through God's perspective. And like I said, I like to make that little joke. You can have so many degrees they rename you Dr. Fahrenheit. Ha 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 ha. But at the same time, it's not being smart. It's being wise and seeing things through God's perspective. And how I wish I could go back and redo some other things I've done which haven't been very wise.
I want to go back. Why are you mad?
Knowledge causes pride. You remember last night? Knowledge causes pride, but wisdom brings a humble attitude, John.
Well,
I'm puffed up.
Humble.
And that's a good point that you just made, Jamie. It's so true, because you can be. The more knowledge you have, if you're not careful, you can get really arrogant, really full of yourself, really cocky. And there you go. That's right. And I was going to say, we live. Tom knows we live in a community of brilliant people. I mean, the people that
Where are you living?
Well,
Huntsville is the engineers.
well, I was just saying the folks.
You met my neighbors?
I'm sure you got some smart neighbors.
Extremely.
We got within a 10-mile radius of our church or any of these churches, there's a bunch of people that are just brilliant, and people that can shoot missiles out of the air with missiles, like
rocket scientists.
Like knock a 22 out of the air with a 22. But you can be brilliant, but you can also be very, very dumb. And so smart is one thing, but wisdom is something that right.
Common sense.
And we asked that question the other day. Why is common sense not so common? Because they say all you need is common sense. Well, a lot of folks don't have much common sense, including me.
You know what my problem with you is, John?
What's that?
Why can't you be more like Billy Graham?
Well, and what Jamie's talking about is I'd like to be more like Billy Graham also. But the truth is we one of the reasons we have conflicts, we're going to talk more about that even this Sunday, is we compare. And Jamie's trying to, we say things like that. We say, why aren't you this way, or why can't be that way? Why aren't you more like your big brother? Why aren't you more like your sister? And a lot of us grow up, we're so mad because we got compared to our older brother, more athletic, or our cuter sister. Or, and what I think is really cute is just in the book of James that we're talking about. I don't know if it happened, but can you imagine Mary saying to James, the baby brother of Jesus, why can't you be more like your brother Jesus?
Oh,
well, can you imagine that? Yeah, well, okay, my older brother.
I don't have a chance.
Yeah, my older brother is God.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I've got a comment here about your dad. I didn't get those encouragement words from my dad either. He always told me I was going to be a loser.
Well, you know what, and your dad's a great guy, but but you know what, that's right, and he I'm sure he is in heaven now, right, and having a great time. But unfortunately, some of us grew up in a generation where we had fathers that weren't encouraging. I thank God that I had a dad who would crack my rear when I needed it, but he had an incredible ability to lift me back up.
Yeah, see, I want you to explain that part, John. Because when my dad busted me down, he didn't, okay, so I did that where you'd learn a lesson. Yeah. No, he'd kick me while I was down there again.
Well,
he was mean.
Unfortunately.
The man I knew?
You know what?
Huh?
The man I knew?
Yeah. To be short, he was, I've never figured it out. Even though you might be bigger than your dad, you can never beat up your dad.
You're not going to do that.
Because you're scared to death
Good.
of it.
You should be. Don't ever try to beat your daddy up.
Well, you know, and that's a great point. I mean, by the time I was a senior in high school, I was 4 inches taller than my dad and outweighing about 40 pounds. And
but you're scared to death of it.
But I was raised to revere this man, and I did. But my father did. My father, I was very, very blessed to have a great disciplinary dad who did not put up with any foolishness, but had an incredible gift of speaking really good things into me, and would not let me go feel sorry for myself, or you know.
What I think is worse is when you meet an adult. I mean, we had terrible dads. Okay, according
it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I know I had an awful father, but once you are no longer in their home, isn't it your own choice how you decide to be?
Great point, because we so many of us live with what's called a victim mentality. You know, my dad sucked, or my mama, you know, and that kind of thing.
Get over it. You're not living with them anymore.
There's a point in time when you just have to say, okay, I'm shed of all that. I'm done with those things. Now, I can, like we talked about the baggage, I can carry this baggage for the rest of my life, or I can, you know, get a new image of myself, and the image that God has for you. I mean, God's all for you and encouraging you.
I saw the cutest thing on Facebook. It said, everyone has baggage. Find someone who loves you enough to help you unpack it.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah. That's right. And
I still got something I got to tell you.
Please don't. I've heard plenty.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. You've heard enough.
God, why is it I want the last word?
You know, isn't that just like most of us?
I'm teaching him, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. That's a good, and that's the best last word.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
You can have the last word.
Well, yeah, you go. That's right. That's right.
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's right. That's a good one, Gloria. That is. But we do. You know, a lot of times we get
Jamie's
into
laughing too.
There you go. We get into conflict so often because we want the last word. We want to win the argument, and you know what? For what? You know, who cares at the end of the day? So what?
You got here, fools think their own way is right, but the wise man listens to others.
He does. He does. Absolutely. Now, you don't listen to everything. You listen to everything they say. You don't have to accept everything they say. But, you know, one of the ways to be a good friend or to be a good worker is to actually value where somebody else comes from. That's the biggest thing. I understand the reason people feel the way they feel is because that's the way they feel. And they can't help where they came from or what happened in their lives. And so it's important to make other people feel like you at least listen.
And as we all know, I would cut you off in mid-sentence because you got that here too. I would never say something I ain't supposed to, John.
Well,
oh, yeah. You just don't admit it.
That is a good point there, Jamie. I've never seen you say anything or even get in trouble for anything you've ever said.
You ain't seen me a whole lot.
Yeah. I've never seen you ever have any consequences from anything. So yeah, that's because everything you ever said is spot on, brother.
That's right. Let's talk a little football. We're tired of watching ice skating and bowling over the weekend.
Oh my goodness.
Super Bowl. You for any one of these teams?
I'm gonna be for the Ravens because we got two homeboys. I mean, they're on that team, and
Auburn's got a guy on the Ravens team too, don't they?
Yeah, and that's right. And
Mount Cody plays.
Cody plays. Courtney Upshaw, of course, and you know, and I was for the Falcons until they got beaten.
I was too.
So, but I'm not going to lose.
I was for the Patriots too.
But yeah, for sure. I was just talking to somebody about Tom Brady just this morning. But
he sure is fun to watch.
I was just going to say, I said he came by the office the other Tom did, and I just said, you are so cute.
All right, John.
Yeah, I know.
Dustin's got a men's conference going on this Saturday night. He and Tim starting at 5 o'clock down at Lindsay Lane Baptist Church. You can still get tickets for, I think they're $10. That includes the lunch. You mentioned we're going to have a groundbreaking at our church coming up when?
February 10th. Yeah.
I noticed you were trying to save money on the foundation because you had everybody bring a shovel.
Yeah, everybody's going to bring a shovel, and we're going to dig that foundation that Sunday afternoon. We sure are. I'm just kidding.
Everyone.
We are going to have a little dedication service, a little groundbreaking on February the 10th at 4:30. Looking forward to it.
So when do we expect to move in?
Probably spring of
a year
from now. Something like that. Yeah, right. Probably so. Lord willing, all things could change, but that's the way it is.
Talked to a buddy of mine yesterday, John McGee. You remember John, my Alabama buddy? He's a lawyer now over in Florence. He calls me and he says, just want to let you know, National Signing Day is what, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Whatever the 6th is. He said, I'm a member of the Red Elephant Club, so we're taking a bus down to Tuscaloosa to be part of it. And I'm thinking, dang, has it gotten that big?
Really? I'm telling you.
I mean,
he's a true
like they're going to a game.
Fan,
they're taking a bus from the Shoals down to Tuscaloosa. Where are they going to hang out? They got something going on down there?
I was just thinking when I signed back 40 years ago.
Yeah, what was that like?
Well, we went to Goulas Restaurant in Mobile and signed our little thing.
Well, now they're going to have reporters at like 6 or 10 different campuses. Rinaldi, I know, is going to be in Tuscaloosa, and they're going to have them all over. And they're covering this thing like, and y'all know Luganville from ESPN is married to an Athens girl.
Well, you know, it's big time. I mean, it was just so much different than it was a wonderful thing to sign a college football scholarship, but it wasn't like this constant ESPN coverage and all that kind of stuff.
What does that do for those kids' ego?
Well, I tell you what, you know what's going to happen is, I'll say for Coach Saban. Coach Saban will take those 25 kids that come in there and will take those egos and deflate them real quick.
As Barney used to say, nip it in the bud.
Exactly. But once again,
he'll build them back up.
He's a guy that will take those and then, you know what, and they'll be champions, you know, because he'll speak greatness back into them.
All right, if y'all need to get in touch with us on this Wednesday morning or any day of the week, 603-4848 is our main number. You can always email me, countryrover@gmail.com, and I keep a close one eye.
How about
Until I get fixed. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Get me set up. Which camera am I on?
Oh, my goodness, stop it.
Hey, I think it's funny now. A patch and an eye dog. See an eye dog, that'll be good to go.
I mean,
well,
really.
There's one thing Zorro can teach you how to do.
There
He
you
seems
go.
to do up here all the time.
Listen, we'll talk some sports tomorrow. Get ready for the Super Bowl. We'll take a break for the day. See y'all tomorrow.
Bye.